Mangiaracina is an ESL professor and psychologist at a Spanish university hospital. He teaches medical professionals English and communication skills so as to work better with their patients. He uses Screenflow to create videos that reinforce his lectures. This also allows his students to review material at their own leisure. Now, he also mentioned to me that using Screenflow, and perhaps YouTube as well, he is looking for ways to expand his market reach for potentially getting more students online. Okay, so Peter provided me with some of his Screenflow productions, which you can see on this same blog page. I've posted an example of his work here. I identified a couple of things which were good about them, including the organization and presentation of his material. I mean, he's a natural-born teacher. It was well thought out and certainly not unlike what you would expect from a really good teacher, you know, those kind that you remember from high school. The audio recording sounded really clear and concise too, so I had no problems with that. He also used a variety of images to get his point across. You can see that Peter has a lot of creativity when doing these productions, so he's got a really good, solid foundation for creating videos. I think I can help him go to the next level, but Peter came to me and the Screenflow Makeover series wanting to add, basically some excitement, some interest, and entertainment value to his lecture. He's also interested in expanding his market reach using YouTube to perhaps, start some online training as well, like I mentioned before. So with those goals in mind and looking over his work, I came up with a few suggestions. I noticed that most of his videos had a dark background and, somewhat of an industrial noir art feel to them. As good as they look, I'm not sure they fit in with an ESL course, so I think that's something to look at. My suggestion for this was to use a lighter, brighter feel to the videos, such as this background that I mocked up in Keynote. I just use a standard background template. And the reason I chose this was because, I was just thinking that, his audience, medical professionals in a hospital, they probably have to deal with a lot of tough issues day in and day out, difficult situations that come up all the time. So I was just thinking that, coming into a lecture where, the content is presented in a more bright and cheery outlook, it's probably going to be a bit of a relief and something that, students would actually look forward to attending in a lecture. To have even a slightly playful format could very well be a welcome change to their day. To augment that style, I grabbed a selection of iStock images to show Peter how easy it would be to purchase a variety of these images and then use them in all of his subsequent videos. Yeah, you'd probably have to spend $100, $150 maybe, but you can grab, a consistent set of images and use them in videos for years to come. But it also lays the groundwork for being consistent and building your brand as well, which I also reminded Peter about, just some simple branding techniques. Now, even though he's not a company himself, his persona can definitely become a brand in this field, just become known as, one of the ESL teachers to go to. So I recommended using a mugshot and the ID at the very least on the page. You can put it down here in the corner if you like. In my mind, this type of branding should be visible in the majority of your videos. It should also complement the theme and style of your presentation. So, for example, because I have, sort of a lighter cartoon style layout here, I was suggesting to Peter in our conversation that he should just go to Fiverr.com and get somebody to draw a cartoon caricature of him and just match it up here. Now, this isn't going to be for everybody, I know that, but this is one of the goals that he wanted to do for his videos, make it more fun and interesting. So that's one of the things that I came up with. In the Keynote document, I also showed Peter how to add other elements that could potentially keep students interested in the lesson. I call these screen alerts. And if you've seen some of my other stuff, you'll see some odd things sort of popping up here and there. And basically, they're just made of virtually any element combined with a video action. The example I used here fit in with the theme and was just this little blue dot dropping into a frame here and there, and signifying perhaps an interesting point of discussion, a topic change, or a review session, etc. That helps with keeping the viewer attuned. What happens with screen alerts is that viewers tend to keep more alert and attentive to the content because, these little sounds and visual actions are popping up every now and then, and you sort of have to say, hey, what was that? What did I miss? That's what you really want. I also showed Peter how he can take this a step further by adding something along the lines of Peter's Fast Facts. These are little interesting tidbits that come up every once in a while. They can be fun, interesting, even bizarre add-ons to your content. Now, they don't have to be about your content, but they can be closely or loosely related to your lesson. And the point is that it's unexpected. And something like this will just sort of pop up. Kind of want your audience to say to themselves, what? I didn't know that. Oh, wow, cool, or that was interesting. You don't even have to mention it in your script, like in your dialogue for the video, but if you have a little bell, a little blue dot, and a little Peter's Fast Facts popping up, it's going to be sort of ready for the unexpected, and that adds to the attention level. Makes up the stretch run of what could potentially be a long lecture. I also like to use popular characters to help get a point across. If you take this screen, for example, the concept of conflict resolution, which was one of Peter's subjects in one of his videos, you're trying to get that concept across here, it would be much more a visual reference in the viewer's mind if you use some pop culture to associate with that. For example, such as here where I used Homer and Bart trying to work out an issue. Now keep in mind that a lot of these images are not commercially available. When using stuff like this, what I always prefer to do is use older programming or content that is commercially available, and then just add credits, like I said, after the video, and a source where viewers can actually go to purchase a DVD, for example. I always find out if something's available on Amazon, and then I give the link right at the end of my video. Taking that a step further, in this sample I used a popular clip from YouTube of a sitcom that aired in the early 1970s called The Odd Couple. This one, it creates a language scenario that could easily be turned into an ESL lesson. And using some of Peter's natural creative instinct, just let it run for a bit, and then he could sort of just lead right into his lesson after the clip ends. Adds a bit of relief, a bit of variety, and, like I said, a memorable association with the content. Technically speaking, adding a file like this to Screenflow is really easy. Just record the segment from YouTube, and then in your Screenflow project you crop it, then edit out any parts you don't need, and finally export it as a .mov. So you're creating a separate file here. Once you start assembling your main project, just import that file where you need it, and then start editing it in your main project. Oh yes, I also gave Peter some suggestions for his assignment page here too. Basically adding that the theme of the lesson should really continue throughout the video here too. I used this sample cartoon drawing of a brief interaction between a couple who just met. And this is an assignment page that will sort of be the finish to a lesson. I laid it out in Keynote, but I added sound effects for typing and some perspective video actions right in Screenflow too. So again, it makes the whole thing just less stale and more interesting. I also discussed with Peter how to organize his workflow using Screenflow. Basically letting him know that recording his audio first is just going to make him sound much more natural, give it a smooth flow, and not to worry about the visuals. Bring in the visuals into your project after, whether it be through Keynote or just recording another document in Screenflow. And then you're just matching up the video with the audio afterwards, and then subsequently adding more graphic and sound effects to the project when you're finishing everything up. You can check out a sample video I made here for Peter, if only to let him know what I was trying to convey a little better. Okay, that's it. Hope you like this Screenflow makeover. And if you have a Screenflow video that you want some help with, just use the submission forms on this blog, and either me or Lynn will get right back to you. Also, if you want to learn more about Screenflow, sign up at my blog at combocasting.com, and I got about 20 or so videos that I'll send you for free. Take care. Ciao.